Flight time discrepancy. A commercial student in scenario 3 working on a cross-country flight. Uh, while I'm en route, I noticed that the time is significantly longer than what I had originally calculated. Noticing the discrepancy, there's a change, there's something going on. Based on what I know in my cross-country experience, I'm gonna discuss what I think the difference could be from the possible issues and solutions to the problem. I've actually encountered this more times than I like to admit. You plan for one thing and Mother Nature gives you another. Uh, People around the flight school I attend, they joke a little bit, knowing that the if I'm flying one direction, they would prefer to fly another, knowing that they'll get the tailwind because it seems like everywhere I go, I'll plan for a 10 knot tailwind, and that's what all the weather and everything is telling me I'm going to encounter at the altitudes I plan on flying at. And I get out there and I get flying, and I might see it for 20 minutes, and something changes, weather shifts, and there's a 30 or 40 knot headwind. Um, I've actually had to cancel flights because of large headwinds, and just simply knowing that, once I get going, yeah, I'm not going to make it to where I plan on going. And there's also a reason for that change. If there's forecasted winds are light or aloft, and all of a sudden you see some heavy winds, it could be a sign that there's some weather you don't really want to deal with on its way in. So sometimes it's better just to spin an about face and head back to the airport anyways, which I've done a couple of times. So the discrepancy can be exactly that. It could be a matter of um, getting up to altitude and finding out that the uh, the winds aren't what you anticipated. Um, you can do a fuel burn calculation in air based on your ground speed, see if you'll actually be able to complete your flight, or if you're looking maybe at it as an alternate, or just turning around and calling it a day. Just doing a little bit of cross country flight training might not be such a bad idea. Again, like I said before, I've done it before myself. So, and other things that I've personally encountered is, you get up and start trimming the airplane out. You plan for a certain speed, certain fuel burn, and then you realize that maybe your speed just isn't quite what you anticipated that you would see as indicated airspeed. Um, Primarily that's I've encountered that when I get up, uh, get leveled off at my cruising altitude, and typically it's been the wind that causes me to make a decision. Now there's another issue that I have encountered between my departure airport and my first checkpoint, and that's unexpected air traffic control delays based on traffic around you. Um, I've encountered that numerous occasions where I'm looking to head south and I take off on a northwest runway. Um, and because of traffic to the south, ATC tells me to fly straight out and that they'll call my turn. There's been times where I've been um, on the outer edge of the controlled airspace, and sometimes outside of it, and had to call back to the tower and ask if it's okay for me to turn to the south. On an IFR flight plan, I've been directed out um, 90 degrees to where I wanted to fly to, as much as 25 miles. And that can significantly change your actual times. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that can be done to avoid that. As a former Army air traffic controller, I understand that there's separation that needs to be maintained, and sometimes taking the the little guy and kind of shooting them out of the way while you let the big planes in. A lot of times is the easy answer. And where I operate in and around uh, the Minneapolis St. Paul area, we have a very large Class B airport there with MSP. So that has happened before where air traffic control has shot me out on an IFR plan and everything's been lengthened out. Um, you can plan a good cross country and take everything into consideration, your fuel burn, winds aloft, um, everything that you're going to run into along the way. But there's not a whole lot you can do about Mother Nature once you get up if she decides to change plans on you. Again, it's something I've run into a bunch of different times, and I've taken a lot of different approaches to getting around it. Sometimes you're able to just continue on with your flight. It's short enough. Your fuel burn, fuel on board is a non-issue. Other times it's been significant enough to where I've cut the flight short and turned around. But that's my look into scenario 3.